UFC Fight Night, Sandhagen versus Nurmagomedov just took place in Abu Dhabi this Saturday afternoon. And that was a really, really solid main event. And I know a lot of people are probably calling it boring because Umar won and they just kind of hate people from that region and stuff like that. Yeah, it wasn't some barn burner, but I thought, if you find like that fight boring, I don't really know why you're watching the sport, to be completely honest. And I'm not trying to sound like some you gotta like every fight to be a hardcore fan. Look at how good this women's fight. I'm not saying that at all. I think there's a lot of fights that are actually boring. That fight was not boring because how high level it was. The grappling exchanges, the striking that Umar showed. And my initial prediction was Umar by decision, except I thought it was gonna be a lot closer. I had Umar winning. I thought him at least winning 3 rounds, obviously, to get the decision. And I thought, maybe 2 of the later rounds are going to be kind of tough for him because I trusted Sandhagen's cardio to probably be a little better than Umar's, but it just wasn't even the case. Umar debatably 50-45'd him. I know 2 judges gave Sandhagen the first round. I think 1 gave him the second round, which is just crazy. But if you want to give the first round for Sandhagen, fair enough. But I probably scored that 50-45 for Umar. Umar he proved that the hype was real. And I always say this, I love fights when you get a hyped up guy like Umar and you put him against a staple of the division like Cory Sandhagen, who's ranked number 2 in the division. He's been around for a long time. He's considered one of the best bantamweights in the world. I love fights like this. And Umar, there's a reason why I thought the Vegas odds disrespected Cory Sandhagen, but I guess not. Minus 300 for Umar was completely appropriate. He completely shut down Sandhagen's game from start to finish. And when we go, look through the fight, the first round's the only one debatable for Cory. We go to the second round. Just Cory Sandhagen, I got to give him credit. His scrambles are really amazing. He always gives up his back. He gives his back up every time he tries to get up. But he was able to defend a lot of chokes and a lot of, some of the offensive grappling that Umar tried on him. But Umar was still winning basically all the grappling exchanges. He was winning at almost every single striking exchange. He just put on a masterclass performance in the biggest test, in the biggest stage, in the biggest fight he's ever been in by a mile. And when I go through this whole fight, round 2, round 3, round 4, and round 5, the crazy part about this fight is that Umar got better as the fight went on. Rounds 1, obviously, could debatably maybe go for Cory, but, all the rounds were decently close, even though I thought there was a clear winner. But rounds 4 and 5 were the best rounds for Umar. They're the most dominant rounds for him, which I thought was really impressive. Because of my prediction, I said if there's one aspect of Umar's game that could get exposed, it's his cardio. It didn't. He looked fresher than Sandhagen later in that fight. And another thing I noticed about this fight, not only did Umar win basically every single striking exchange, did he get hit once in the face? I can't remember a single shot from Cory Sandhagen hitting him in the face. And I'm sure it happened. I'm sure a jab hit him, so I'm exaggerating a bit here. But guys, let me know, it felt like Cory Sandhagen could not touch that guy's chin. Not at all. Doesn't matter what shot he threw. The only effective shot that Cory Sandhagen had, for the fight was his leg kicks. And a lot of those leg kicks were checked. But those were the only source of damage Cory could do all fight. He got out grappled. He lost on the feet. He lost in every aspect, and his entire game got shut down by Umar. This is a statement win for Umar. And the winner of this fight, which is Umar, is going to fight the winner of O'Malley versus Merab, which is a banger of a fight. Bantamweight is so good right now. These matchups are amazing. And we're not really even talking about Figueiredo's win today, but he's right there in the mix. I think him versus Jan would be amazing, but, we're going to more focus on the main event. Even though I picked Umar to win, I was extremely impressed and a little shocked at how he was just able to shut down Sandhagen's game. And when you look at him for potential matchups with O'Malley and Merab, Umar, he's the most complete fighter out of all of them. He has top striking in the division. He has top grappling in the division. And when you look at him, let's say a matchup versus Merab, he's a better striker than Merab. His kicks are nasty, But can Merab's grappling and cardio overpower Umar? I don't know, because Umar has good grappling. Even though he's primarily a striker, he has really, really good grappling. And we saw that today. We've seen that in his past fights. And versus O'Malley, can O'Malley defend takedowns from Umar? Because I think O'Malley's probably a better striker, but when you combine the threat of the takedown of Umar, that's when Umar can become a more effective striker in a fight against O'Malley, because he has the threat of the takedown. This guy is the complete package. This was an amazing high-level fight. You know, I don't want to throw around the word domination, because it's not like he just was rocking Cory all the time, but it was a dominant win. I think that's a better word. It was a dominant, clear, ultra clear-cut win where he showed levels. Umar Nurmagomedov showed levels, and he showed that Cory Sandhagen simply isn't on his level, and he is a better fighter. Umar Nurmagomedov is a better fighter than Cory Sandhagen in every aspect of the sport. And I don't think it's particularly close, because as I said, did Cory get one headshot on him? I don't think he got one shot on him. I mean, it was amazing. And back to Cory, I feel bad for Cory. Because is he ever going to get a title shot now? He's going to have to work his way back up again. When you looked at his resume isn't very strong. That's why he needed the fight. That's why he needed a win in this fight to get a title shot, even though he's ranked number 2. His resume, Rob Font, Marlon Vera, who, after losing to Sandhagen, squeaked by Pedro Munoz, who just lost his fight, a couple months ago, probably a little longer than that, but Pedro Munoz has not won a fight since losing to Marlon Vera. Marlon Vera's now on a 2-fight losing streak, got his ass beat by Sean O'Malley, just lost. And Figueiredo kind of beat the shit out of him in a lot of aspects in that fight. Striking wise, grappling, Vera just doesn't throw enough. And so when we're looking at Cory's resume, his resume is just becoming weaker and weaker. And when you look at like some of his knockouts, which are amazing, over Frankie Edgar, it's an amazing knockout. Marlon Moraes, that's an amazing knockout. These guys are like kind of washed up, Moraes, his chin is gone. Frankie Edgar's old. Cory Sandhagen doesn't knock out good competition. He doesn't even knock out mid-competition. Is Rob Font even a top 10 bantamweight, really? Is Marlon Vera even a top 10 bantamweight? I know the rankings might say he is. But when you look at, guys, do you know what Umar would do to Rob Font, or what he would do to Marlon Vera? The only time Marlon Vera would be on his feet against Umar is at the beginning of every round. And by the way, Umar would destroy him on the feet as well, and would destroy. He wouldn't even need the feet. He'd just grapple him and destroy him. But probably could see him actually find a submission maybe on him. But it's just his resume wasn't very good, and that's when I was looking at these fights. I was like, even though Cory's resume is 10 times better than Umar's, I'm not going to use that to underrate Umar, because when I look at the people that Cory's beat, I'm picking Umar over all those people. And in fact, I think he beats them in even more dominant fashion before this fight. That was my opinion on it. So that's why the resume just didn't really matter in this fight. And a lot of time it does matter. When you look at BSD and Dustin Poirier, that's when, when that fight was happening, that's when resume can really, I think rightfully impact a decision on who do you think what fighter's going to win the fight. But for this fight in particular, since Cory doesn't have, a resume comparable to a guy like Dustin. And that's why I thought that Umar, it just didn't really matter. And Umar proved my point right. Just absolutely pretty dominant win for him. Debatably 50-45'd him. I think he 50-45'd him. And winning every round against Cory is impressive. So props to Umar. Respect to Cory for taking this fight. There's a lot of fighters, like Colby Covington, who squat on their ranking. They're not willing to test their skills. And Cory Sandhagen was willing to test his skills, fight a guy outside the top. I think he was ranked number 10, but still, fight a guy way back in the rankings. And he had a lot to gain from this fight, but he also had a good amount to lose from this fight. But props to Cory Sandhagen for being a real fighter and fighting whoever's in front of him to prove that he is the best. I hope Cory Sandhagen gets his next matchup is good for him. I want to see him back in the win column. I don't know who he should fight next. I guess you could maybe put him versus Figueiredo. You could put him against, no, I was about to say Jan, but they already fought. I don't know. Figueiredo makes sense. For some reason, I can't think of any other obvious names. There's definitely some obvious matches, but I'm drawing a blank right now for some reason. But hopefully Cory Sandhagen gets back in the win column. He deserves it. He's a real fighter, unlike a lot of these other guys who squat on their rankings. And Umar, he's just the real deal, guys. And I could really see him getting that belt around his waist wasting another year or so, if not sooner. I could really see that happening. And the next fight between him versus Marab or him versus O'Malley is a absolute banger. Bantamweight's in a great position right now. And so guys, what do you think about that fight? How would you score it? Do you think Cory got around? Do you think it was just 50-45 like I do? And make sure to like, subscribe to the channel, and give me your thoughts on Umar's win in the comments below. See you next time.